You guys remember this brand new game that's coming from Ubisoft? It was announced a while ago and we got to play it a little bit last summer, and it was supposed to come out actually in like late summer 2023. Do you guys remember that game? I'm trying to think of what it's called because we haven't been able to play it yet, and I just can't remember the name. Oh yeah, it's right, XDefiant. That game we're supposed to be playing last year still hasn't been released. It's still indefinitely delayed. Yeah, well, the TLDR, we don't have the release date of the game yet. So, you know, there's a TLDR of the video, but there's more to it than just that. So if you guys want to stick around to learn about all the juicy details about what we've learned about XDefiant this past week, then I need you to do one really simple thing for me. Are you ready? There's a little button somewhere below the player here that has a little thumbs up on it. If you just click that, you'll automatically make this video 10 times more effective. So if you just do that, you know, I got nothing, but you know, it'd be pretty cool. All right, on the real though, guys, we actually have gotten a good bit of things that have happened over the course of the past week in the world of XDefiant once again. So here we are once again to discuss it. We don't have any news about an official release date, but we have a lot of things that have been happening in the pipeline behind the scenes. A lot more of that stuff has been continuing to occur. So with that being said, hopefully praying to the gods that we do in fact get XDefiant here before that March 31st deadline, which is the end of the month and the end of the Q4 of the fiscal year for Ubisoft. Let's hope. All right, let's hope. All right, first off, we'll start this off with letting you guys know that we did not get at all an official statement from Mark Rubin throughout the entire month of February, which is not common for him. He usually gives us at least one official tweet on his account throughout the month. He does a lot of replying and things like that to people, but he at least does one official tweet. And in the month of February, he didn't do one of those. He did some replying, but he didn't do a single official post on his Twitter account, which is a little interesting to me. And I know that a lot of people out there, let me just for a moment talk to you here. A lot of people out there have been saying that the communication has fallen off significantly since the delay happened last fall. And the communication that we fell in love with as a community has just basically gone away. And I want to address that. A lot of people think that it is because the higher ups at Ubisoft have told him to shut his mouth and aren't letting him talk the way that he used to. And a lot of people are seeing this as a really bad thing, making them really worried about where this game is going to go because it's different than what we had experienced before. And I totally understand where you're coming from with that. I do. But in my opinion, I actually think that this is more so related to the fact that the game is really close to launching. And really, Mark and the team are just heads down in the dirt working on getting this game done and ready to go. I really don't think it has anything to do with him being suppressed, if you will. I think it more so has everything to do with the fact that the game is almost here. They're really trying to grind it out and get it done by that March 31st deadline. I think that is really where things are at right now. I don't really think there's some conspiracy going on that a lot of people are falling into. I get it. I understand why people are thinking that way, but I honestly, at this point, I think it's just a matter of them really working hard to get the game done and not really wanting to talk about anything else. Because let's be honest, if Mark was just out here making statements talking about all kinds of different things that had nothing to do with the release date, then people would not care at all. They would be kind of annoyed and be like, bro, we don't care, just give us the game, you know? So just try and have a little bit of patience with that, look at it from that perspective. And also with that in mind, I mean, just by sheer statistical fact, we should be hearing from Mark here very, very soon. Now, with all that being said, some interesting things did take place in the XDefiant world online over the course of the past week, and one of them was that apparently the Season 1 faction has officially been shown off in an unofficial way. Essentially, for some folks, if you were able to load up the XDefiant closed session on your Xbox or on your PlayStation, close out of the application, and then load up Ubisoft Connect on your PC. Apparently, in your XDefiant game in the library of Ubisoft Connect, it shows that Season 1 is coming with the Rainbow Six Siege faction, and actually details some specific things about the faction, which is super interesting. I don't think that this is intended from Ubisoft, or at least it's one of those things where they're not expecting a lot of people to see this. So, you know, it's like whatever. Anybody that has a console can go and do this. So if you have, you know, PlayStation or Xbox and you have the game still installed on your console, you can do this right now, theoretically. But basically what it says is that with the launch of Season 1 for XDefiant, it introduces the Team Rainbow operators of GSK, or the Border Protection command, leveraging their counterterrorism training to disrupt their enemies. They could deploy electrified barbed wire for area denial, counter incoming enemy devices with their active defense system, and dazzle multiple foes with flash charges mounted on their G52 tactical shield. I think everyone's kind of been speculating and expecting that Rainbow Six would be the first faction that comes with Season 1 based off of the roadmap that we received last year. It just kind of looked like that was going to be the case. But now we have like an official, unofficial point of view about this actually being the case. So I'm actually very excited about this. I think it's a really good time for Rainbow Six to come into XDefiant, assuming that the game launches this month. Rainbow Six Siege just had their 6th invitational, and it was very, very successful. They had like 400,000+ viewers or something like that. The game is seeing a little bit of a resurgence, it sounds like, or at least in the eyes of the fans, it's seemingly that way. So I think it's a really good time to have a crossover with Rainbow Six, and hopefully it's very, very successful. I hope that the faction isn't broken, but it sounds really fun, and I'm super excited for it. Now, we do have some actual leaks, I guess you could say, that happened this past week, but before we get to that, I do want to talk about something that is concrete and is in fact happening related to XDefiant here very, very soon, here in the month of March. GDC 2024 is coming up here at the end of March, or towards the end of March, and XDefiant, believe it or not, is actually gonna have 2 different panels that are happening at GDC. So basically on March 19th, which is a Tuesday, March 19th, there's going to be the Technical Artist Summit using generative AI as a tool for tech artists. Now, the speaker for this panel is Daniel Ocean. He is a Ubisoft developer who works on XDefiant. So that's kind of interesting because a XDefiant developer is going to be talking about the use of AI in games, essentially, at GDC. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? You know, it's interesting to me. But the thing that's honestly more interesting to me is actually the panel on Friday, March 22nd. This panel is specifically called The Audio of XDefiant. This one's just straight up, bam, the audio of XDefiant. And the speakers for this one are Nicholas Bernardi and Brian D. I'm sorry. But essentially, these two are both Ubisoft developers working on XDefiant right now, and they're going to be talking about the audio of XDefiant. Now, does this mean that the game is coming out before that? Not necessarily, but in my mind, I find it interesting that they're going to have a GDC panel about XDefiant if the game isn't here, because you know that the online world is going to be like, bruh, where is the XDefiant news? But either way, even if we don't get the game before this, I find this very interesting. And let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that this panel has anything to do with the launch of XDefiant? Do you think that the game needs to come out beforehand for this to happen? I've seen some people talk about how these sorts of panels typically happen for a game after it has launched, and that would be my inclination. But again, you know, these things also get planned a good bit ahead of time, so perhaps this was planned before the delay for XDefiant, although the delay has been pretty long at this point. I would think that maybe this didn't get planned before the delay, but who knows? At this point, we have absolutely no idea. It's just kind of cool to see that this is gonna happen. So, I mean, at the very least, we should learn some interesting things about the audio of XDefiant and the AI too, but I'm not as interested in that one. Yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think? Does this have anything to do with the release? Let me know. All right, now to cap all this off, we did get some interesting leaks that happened this week as well. Apparently, some folks were able to sort of inspect element the HTML code on Ubisoft Connect for the XDefiant page, and we're able to find some interesting things on there. 2 things specifically of note. One is that apparently the launch trailer is officially uploaded and ready to go as a privatized YouTube video. I did try and actually put this URL in on YouTube myself, and it didn't tell me that the YouTube video was private. It was kind of weird. It actually went to a full video player, and then it went away, and then it said this video is no longer available. So I don't know if that means that it was there and now it's not because the leak happened. I don't know. Not sure what's happening with that. But even still, if a launch trailer has been created and is ready to go on the YouTube channel, that means we are very close, ladies and gentlemen. And it makes me super freaking excited because if they're gonna have a launch trailer, it means that they're just finishing up clerical items, which we have seen happening online. A lot of clerical things have been occurring. So they've already got the trailer ready to go and it's just ready to click that publish button. You know what I'm saying? I'm very, very excited. I'm hoping that this does in fact come here very soon. But again, you know, I I don't know if this is real or not. I really don't know. We'll find out, you know, in the future. We'll see here, hopefully in the next couple weeks, if we get that launch trailer. But again, this was just kind of one of those things where it's maybe, it's a leak, maybe, who knows, but it's interesting. At least it's interesting to think about and discuss. Now, the last thing that was leaked in this HTML code was saying that there is a 3-day early access period for XDefiant for people who are A, Ubisoft Plus subscribers, or B, purchased a deluxe edition of XDefiant. Now, of course, XDefiant is a free-to-play game. How do you purchase an XDefiant deluxe edition? Well, they're probably gonna have some form of edition like the Founders Packs or something like that, where you can pay 20 bucks and get some extra goodies and get the game and play early, right? That's a super common thing. And honestly, with this game being free to play, Ubisoft has to recoup their cost somehow. So I can totally expect them to do something like this to definitely get the hardcore audience really excited for the game, purchasing that Founders Edition, getting some extra stuff, and jumping into the game early. Totally makes sense to me, and honestly, I'm not upset about that in the slightest. And the other thing too, we already knew in the past that it was going to be available day one on Ubisoft Plus. So this just simply confirms that with Ubisoft Plus subscription, you'll be able to play XDefiant 3 days early. I don't know what the Ubisoft Plus subscriber numbers are, but I can't imagine it's massive. So, you know, it's just an extra incentive for people to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, check it out, see what they like. If they want to keep it, great. If not, no big deal. What I actually think is pretty interesting about this whole idea of a 3-day early access period is I actually think it's going to be helpful for the servers. We already knew that the servers were something that has been a point of contention with the previous beta sessions that we've had, servers and latency, and just some various things that have been finicky for some folks. We also know that they completely switched over to Linux for their server system for the game. So I think having a slower trajectory to immediate launch is potentially a good thing, because we've actually seen some recent games like Helldivers 2 or The Last Epoch that have been plagued by server problems at their launch period. The Last Epoch really suffered significantly from server issues, and then Helldivers 2, they just simply didn't have enough servers, so they had to cap the player count, and then they've just recently increased that. So I think having the launch of XDefiant be a little bit softer with that 3-day early access period and then opening the floodgates to everybody, I think it actually makes some good sense from the server perspective for XDefiant. The last thing you want to do is launch this game that has been delayed significantly and then bam, have incredible server problems right out the gate. Now, the other thing I think this could potentially open up an opportunity for is actually having the 3-day early access period beginning on like a Tuesday or a Monday, and then having the full game release on a Thursday or a Friday, which I think would actually be kind of interesting, right? Theoretically, you could say that, let's say on a Monday, let's say March 4th, which is today when you're watching this video actually. Let's say they announced today that you can officially preload the game and the game comes out next Monday for early access folks. Well, then you have a full week of marketing, a full week of getting the game preloaded. The next Monday rolls around, you get to start playing the game for early access people on Ubisoft Plus and on Deluxe Edition purchasers, and then the full game drops on Thursday and then really gets rolling. I think that could be a totally fair way of doing this, and I can see that being something that Ubisoft would do here. Now, with all of that being said, all of this stuff really, at the end of the day, is just conjecture, because we still don't have this freaking game. We still haven't gotten an official statement by anybody. We have seen Ubisoft support on Twitter replying to a lot of people saying, we don't have any information on XDefiant. Make sure you check out the website for more details. It's just like, bro, why are you even responding to these comments? But that actually does make me think, maybe they're just trying to keep it a little bit there, you know? They're replying just enough to make you think that maybe something's happening here pretty soon. But that's it today, guys. You know, a lot of little things happening in the back end, just like last time. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you expecting this game to be dropping before March 31st? I still think that yes, that is the case. I still believe XDefiant is coming this month, but I've been wrong a lot so far. So at this point, man, I have absolutely no idea. Tell you what, if you want to see more content just like this about XDefiant, and when this game does officially come out, hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 4,000 subscribers. Shoot, man, why not, right? Let's just roll for it. But I thank you guys for being here today. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.